Hello, students. So we're getting ready to write a paragraph again, and you're using the documents from the previous activity. And just like with our Aztecs and the Montezuma, does he have a zoo at the beginning of the semester paragraph that we wrote, you want to be evaluating the quality of the resources and the different documents you were given to determine what you think is the most likely truth based on these documents and based on whether or not you can trust the documents. So I really want you to think about the documents that you were given and whether or not they are a good, trustworthy source. So make sure to go back and look at these documents because you're going to use them in the paragraph, and I want you to directly reference stuff that's said in these documents, and I want you to have at least 2 documents in the paragraph to support your answer. So if you're looking at Dr. Ward here, and who interviewed him and whether or not you think he's trustworthy. He actually treated several children that worked in the factories, so he probably has firsthand evidence. Here's a different doctor. Now, this doctor says he's an active member. He's well regarded in the community. He was interviewed by the Lord Committee about health conditions in the factory. And then the exchange below is part of his report. Now, I will say about this gentleman, if you look down here, you're going to find out that he was recruited by the factory owner to go and investigate. So maybe some of what he found out was not as accurate as the previous doctor, because it says right here at the bottom, who applied to you to undertake the examining of these children in the factory. And it's the owner of the factory. So do you think the owner of the factory is going to bring people to this gentleman to be interviewed who would have made him look bad? Probably not. So I'm going to say that this document is not very trustworthy. Then you have John Burley, and he lost both of his parents at the age of 5. John was interviewed about his experiences as a child worker, so what he experienced. Now, it might just be his personal experience, and not everyone experienced this, but if we have a doctor that corroborates his story, and then if we can find anybody else who can also back up what John said, then you might have a really good piece of evidence here. And then if you go down to the last one, this is a newspaper journalist and editor, and he was elected to Parliament. He's a liberal, and a lot of people think, well, that means that he was really about reformation and reforming this. It says, although Baines supported the end of slavery and various political reforms, he opposed legislation that regulated factories. So he's probably going to be pretty pro-factory, very similar to that doctor who interviewed the workers based on the fact that he was paid by the factory owner. And so he probably is going to say, well, maybe there are some little bad things, but they're not that bad. If this guy actually admits that there is some pretty hard things that are happening in the factories, then I would really take his word for it, because it doesn't benefit him because he didn't want to regulate factories. So if he says it's bad, then it probably is really bad. So again, I want you to evaluate these, and then I want you to go back to this paragraph. Do you think English factories, textile factories, were bad for the health of the working class families? So again, I do not want you to use I in your essay or you. So I don't want you to reference. I know that it's what you think because you wrote it. So I want you to start with a thesis statement. So you're going to make a claim, and you're going to say something like, factory work was extreme, harsh, and what else would we say? And dangerous for working class families. Let's spell it right. And then I don't want to finish this for you, but what I want you to think about is, why was it dangerous? So at this point, you want to tell me a little bit, but not explain everything, because you're going to do it with your documents right after. But I don't want you to just stop and say that it was dangerous for working class families, but I want you to tell me why it was dangerous. So think about going back to those documents. What was dangerous about factory work? Why was it bad for their health? So I'll leave you at that. Good luck writing your paragraph. Remember, you need to reference directly at least 2 documents. I don't want you to quote, I want you to paraphrase. So I want you to put it in your own words what the document said, and I want you to tell me who said it. So who wrote the document in the writing, so do a proper lead-in. And then if you'll put the document letter at the end of the summary of the document before you do your analysis of how it supports your opinion, that would be great. All right, well, good luck, and if you have any questions, let me know.